Hey everybody, this is Nightwatch N8, your host of the Nightwatch Podcast. This old tattered sock puppet Joe Biden's down in Colorado Springs today, right here in my home state. Man, what a trip. That's right. Old Joe was, it's a nice boat. You know what they say? Happiest time in a man's life is when he buys a boat. The second happiest is when he sells the boat. That's my experience anyway. So yeah, old sock puppet Joe is down in Colorado Springs. I guess he's having like the commencement speech or the commencement address, whatever they call it, for the graduees down at the United States Air Force Academy. Big military town if you've ever been down there to Colorado Springs. Huge military presence. The serving members of the armed forces and their wives and their families. But yeah, wouldn't you know it, he took another tumble, that guy. I mean, that guy, I thought it was kind of funny how the first thing he did was he stood up and he pointed the blame at the inanimate object on the stage, I think it was like one of these sandbags to hold down the podium or something like that. Quick to point the blame, aren't they? Yeah, so this is the guy, and I mean, what a demonstration of, just the strength of America right there. Joe Biden, 80 years old, they say. That's the one of the popular tweets right now on the Twitter from all the lefties trying to justify old Dementia Joe. Well, the guy is 80. So what does that mean? You're going to vote for him again, or are you going to vote for a real firebrand? A guy who has a little life, animating him. That has a little grassroots support. Actually, a lot of grassroots support, and he's demonstrated he's willing to stand up to corruption in government, and in particular, corporatocracy, corporate fascism. I thought that's something all the left was all the rage for at one time, shouting down the man, right? Corporate corruption. These damn greedy corporations. Well, you have RFK. That's an option, RFK Jr. But I mean, that is if they even allow for debates, in the primaries. Which, if they did have a real debate between RFK Jr. and Biden, I can tell you what, he would destroy him. RFK Jr. would destroy old Dementia Joe. So that's probably one reason why there's already talk about not even having any debates. Yeah, who needs to even hear the candidates? Who needs to even have options anymore? Let's just let the establishment choose for us. I mean, that's basically how our voting process has completely degenerated. This is the point we've come to. Oh man, that was quick. I had to change hands, and then I had to swerve out of the way of this incoming car from running into me. Some quick on your toes thinking right there, folks. So yeah, I'm here. You probably see this thing leaning on me. Going back to Home Depot today to bring back some parts that have started warping already, like is usually the case with anything you buy from these big box shops. Yeah, it takes a couple days and the wood starts to warp out of shape and you can't even use it anymore. So, I'm always one to bring things back. If that's their policy, you know what? I'll just keep bringing your junk back. Yeah, so Joe, old sock puppet Joe, is falling off the stage, and this is the guy who, on the right, this is the guy who the Republicans want to lose to again, because apparently they're more busy bickering back and forth like little children, between Trump and Desantis, the two just go-to front runners, because again, we're just told who to vote for, right? Before well in advance, before the elections even start up, we allow the media, the corporate media, to just pre-select, our handful of choices in this huge country full of, last I checked, over 300 million people, American citizens. And this is the narrow, myopic interpretation of freedom that we have in this country, that in reality we only get a handful of candidates to choose from. Yeah, and that's all we got time for, right, guys? It's all about the little soundbite, talking point, sound blocks. The corporate media, we got to fit within their little parameters of programming, right? That's all we got time for. We only got time for, maybe a dozen candidates. Half of them are a bunch of corpses up there on stage, just filling the time slots, the allotted time. And that's all we get to choose from, though, right, guys? This is our democracy in action. This is the greatest brand of freedom right here that the world has ever seen. The American experiment. Aren't you guys like feeling patriotic, feeling proud of yourselves as Americans? What, I don't know, Memorial Day just passed, 4th of July coming up soon. This kind of makes me a little angry, but that's just me, maybe. But yeah, so man, DeSantis and Trump, man, these guys are kind of funny. I mean, so you have Trump at one point here recently saying Andrew Governor Cuomo did a better job at handling the COVID, the whole pandemic and all that, than DeSantis did, right? I mean, that's a low punch right there. I mean, this is Cuomo, who was literally stockpiling the nursing homes, filling them with sick old people, patients from hospitals, just to pad the stats, right? Just to add to the kill count, to further promote the fear climate of COVID. This guy should be in prison. And Trump, in a roundabout way, I guess, is giving this guy a pat on the back. Yeah, Andrew Cuomo did a great job, right, Trump? And, for those out there who think that DeSantis is like, the patron saint of, all those lockdown skeptics out there, I got a little video here I can show you where DeSantis was pretty much doing what he's done his whole career, which is following the party line at the time when it was expedient, right? And basically shaming and even threatening any small business owners in his state, to set examples out of them if they didn't abide by pointless social distancing policies.
But it is important to follow the guidelines, and if people see a pub or a restaurant, if they're operating at 55%, okay, give them a warning, tell them, hey, 50. But if you go in and it's just like mayhem, like Dance Party USA, and it's packed to the rafters, that's just cut and dry, and that's not just an innocent mistake. And so I told him, no tolerance for that. Just suspend the license, and then we'll move on. And then people will, I hopefully, get the message that these guidelines are in place for a reason.
Meanwhile, during a little Q&A session in Iowa, you have Trump, just further digging in on the vax issue. When asked about, potentially, things you can't talk about on this platform, so-and-so people that may or may not be still alive on this earth due to his rushing of the, gift from God who saved us all from the Spanish flu 2.0. Trump comes back, and his first statement is, at the time, you gotta put things in the proper context, right? Contextual time frame here. So at the time, he says, quote, everybody wanted a vaccine. Everybody.
What will you do different as RNC member travel the country?
Yeah.
And we have lost people because you supported the jab.
Yeah.
What do you think you would do different?
Yeah, well, everybody wanted a vaccine at that time. And I was able to do something that nobody else could have done, getting it done very, very rapidly. But I never was for mandates. I thought the mandates were terrible. And there's a big portion of the country that thinks that was a great thing. You understand that. Not a lot of the people in this room, but there is a big portion.
I mean, that's token Trump talk right there. Like these broad generalizations, like everybody in the world was just begging, and it must have been the truth. He must have truly believed this at the time, because, like he said, he ordered a jab for every single American. How insane is that, right? Was he that self-confident that he thought he could just persuade 100% of the population? And like he often brags, I was never for the mandates. I was never for the mandates. Well, why would you order a vaccine for every single American citizen unless you were truly delusional? Beyond the point of any rational, capable, thinking human mind out there. To, be so arrogant to think that every single American citizen would be head over heels, ecstatic, jumping up and down to take your big pharma medication. And this issue is just going to further drive that wedge and divide his own base at this point. And so, Trump, DeSantis is posing as the kind of the anti-vax alternative. And so what is that going to do? That's going to split Trump's base right in half. Because, the majority of his followers are, oddly enough, anti-vax. Isn't that strange? Even though he's the jab father, he's the one that continues to this day to brag about what a great human accomplishment it was to develop these vaccines in record time, right? Because we all know by now, I guess we're all a little bit more educated than Donald, despite all of his advisors and geniuses that he surrounds himself with. We're all capable of doing that little bit of research to understand that, these actually were developed years in advance. So it wasn't your Operation Warp Speed, Trump. They're actually fully developed by the likes of DARPA. Interestingly enough, right, this was a military operation, hence the need for a national state of emergency declared under, WHO/UN mandate. The day after the WHO declared it a pandemic. So this whole little fairy tale that, apparently Trump sees his followers as adolescents, like the way he usually acts, I guess. That's how he views that's how he contextualizes, right, to use a big word, his followers, his supporters. We're all just supposed to, hook, line, and sinker, just swallow everything that he says, and just ignore all the science that's come out since Operation Warp Speed, completely discrediting all the misinformation that he continues to spread to this day about how effective that program was. When we have, like this recent news article, studies coming out of Australia demonstrating how alternative treatments, like a lot of us out here, myself included, were trying to promote at the time and actively actually ingesting, right? These gifts from God. And if you look at, there's so many, whether it's ivermectin, I know you're not supposed to talk about the horse tranquilizers and all this bad, untested, right? Untested stuff. There's so many natural alternatives that can blow this whole fraud of, safe and effective, these big pharma, cartels, synthetic, lab-made poisons. There's so many natural alternatives that can just destroy anything that these great enlightened scientists at working for these huge, GlaxoSmithKline, massive big pharma corporations could ever conjure up in a lab, right? And this latest study is just another example. In Australia, garlic, proven to be, what is it, like 99.9% efficacy. Garlic. Just plain old garlic, guys. Isn't that crazy? It's an extremely powerful antibiotic, natural antibiotic. And they say between COVID and the flu, maybe some might argue one and the same thing. I've taken, and it's not, I wouldn't exactly, order this at a fine restaurant or put it on the top of the list of my favorite things to consume. But you can make it's like a garlic tea, it's called. And all you do is you slice it real fine, these real fine segments of garlic, and you boil it in water for a little while. And you can add like a little honey, makes it a little more palatable. But I mean, it's basically garlic water that you're drinking down anytime that you get, fairly severely sick with anything. And we were taking this years before COVID ever arrived on the scene, right? Because we've had some nasty sicknesses in the past. One of which, by the way, was one time that I got incredibly ill. I thought I was going to die. I could hardly breathe out of my lungs. I had to lay on my back with my legs up on the couch just to get in enough air. And all this happened after I was exposed to somebody else in the family, by the way, who had received his swine flu vaccine. I'm not saying anything bad about vaccines. This is just an opinion piece, right? I am not a doctor. But I don't call myself Dr. Nightwatch N8, okay? But we've tried the garlic in the past, and it's amazing. It may or may not have saved my life. I'll just put it that way. It was close. That was the strangest, just deathly ill off the flu. In the middle of summer, I think, is when it was too. Strange timing. But so we have these these things of the earth that God created for our consumption. May your food be your medicine is another another popular phrase. May thy food be thy medicine, something like that. How it's properly pronounced. But it's true. Like, you are what you eat. There is some truth to that comment. You eat garbage every day. You eat high processed, greasy foods. Consume alcohol, loads of caffeine. It's eventually gonna add up to you, and I've dealt with this myself. I'm still trying to get over my stomach problems from probably drinking too much alcohol and I almost said the B word, caffeine. I don't drink vaccines, I'm pretty sure. Wouldn't recommend that either. But But it's getting to a point where you don't know if it's going to be in your food or not, right? This mRNA technology, who the likes of, like Elon Musk just thinks this is going to save us all, right? This is your savior if you are truly godless, if you have no faith in a higher power. If you look at all this beauty around you, right? Everything is so green right now. It's just gorgeous. Life, just this planet is just filled with life. I mean, look at this, look at this, look at this. I'll show you right now. It's a beautiful red butte with an old barn next to it. It's really neat. You don't see too many of those old structures anymore in this area. There's so much development going on right now. Yeah, just a glimpse of paradise right there. From here in Loveland, Colorado. Don't move here though, okay? Don't come here to the state. It's already insane enough, guys, okay? Keep it at a distance, right, guys? We have, right? Bill Gates says this technology all brings us together, right? Good old Billy. I've had an itchy nose lately. I think my hair is growing too close to my nasal passages. I swear I don't. I'm not doing anything else with my nose. I swear it's just an itch. No Hunter Biden activities for me. Yeah, you are what you eat. Be wise about what you consume on a daily basis. Habits, habits are hard to break. Sugar, sweet things that it just feeds cancer. Okay, so you wonder why cancer rates are ridiculous. How much does the the Cancer Society, how much do they do to combat, the sugar industry? I don't know. No, we're always looking for these miracle cures, that come in the form of a serpent, fang. We can just inject straight into our bloodstream, and that's going to cure all of our ailments, right, guys? Yeah, it'll be a Swiss Army knife. The mRNA technology. It's gonna cure everything. If only it was that easy, But that whole perspective flies in the face of just logic, right? Nothing in life comes easy, right? If you want to get in shape, if you want to feel better, I'm preaching to myself here too, guys. You just constantly have to work at it. You have to, you don't lose 20, 30, 40 pounds, in a week. It's going to take months and months, if not years, of hard work, going to the gym, going for a walk, going for a hike, and eating better. And all that eventually is going to add up to a healthier you. And that's life, So you don't just get this quick fix garbage from Big Pharma that's going to fix all your problems. It's like the trans thing, okay? Apparently I can't use the word tranny in a sentence on Twitter because Twitter is so different now, right? This is the front man, back at the top of the pack, bird of a feather, Elon Musk. Once again, the world's richest man is at the helm of Twitter. I can't even use tranny in a sentence without getting a pop-up on my tweets and them blocking my thumbnails from YouTube. Despite, there being nothing harmful in those thumbnails. Reduced visibility over hate content, they say. Why? Because apparently I am, in their little algorithm, Pimper's Paradise, whatever you want to call it. I'm a conservative, and I shouldn't be trusted with even having the conversation, despite the whole world being wrapped up in this topic right now of the whole LGBTQ movement and the effect it's having on our kids. And these hack job, once again, quick cures for a bigger problem, which is self-esteem, self-hate, you know, a culture that is toxic. You know, I was thinking the other day, like, you know, and you see these pop up all the time on Twitter. I wish I would see them less because I don't really want to see all the gruesome details necessarily. But you see these, you know, once very beautiful young girls that decided to, you know, hack it all off. And then there's like the after picture all sewn up, their chests all sewn up. It's like, okay, guys, I get the point. It's barbaric on some level. And this was the new cure, right? This is the cure to castrate yourself, basically. That's the healthcare, they call it. This is healthcare that they're trying to promote for our kids. And meanwhile, making this, like the media does, into a epidemic or a pandemic, really disproportionate to the population, right? So they're making this a bigger deal than it really is. They're making it hip and trendy, cool, right? With gay pride coming up and all that. And ultimately, yes, as a Christian, I think it's demonic. It's demonic. It's a hatred for life. It's a hatred for the whole purpose, the whole meaning for why we're here, right? Why God created us the way He created us, to reproduce, to birth new life, and to perpetuate, right? Be fruitful and multiply. And instead, we're having this, and it's a suicide cult, really. This whole cult of man-made climate change, which, by the way, Elon Musk is also on board with, because he's repeatedly called for a carbon tax and arriving at this net zero concept, which is basically, if you look into it, it's really, you know, the zero. The zero, the carbon that they want to eliminate is us, okay? Anything, all life on Earth, you know, expels carbon. Mammalian life, right? Not just mammalian, all animal life on Earth. Anyway, where was I going with all that? Yeah, this whole trans agenda. I pity these people, not the obnoxious ones, right? Like the killer clown nuns that I get my tweets censored about on Twitter, that latest rant. Not so much those people that are just trying to be obnoxious and get attention, which apparently call them what you will, Christo-fascists on the right, are more than happy to lavish them with the attention that they crave, right? I mean, these guys even have GoFundMes right now, the LGBT community. Supposedly, one article I read, they have GoFundMes to escape Florida, right? Because it's such a mecca of Christian conservative values and all this stuff. You know, even though you look at Miami in some places and it's like, yeah, there's actually a lot of gays there. Cubans and all that. It's kind of cultural, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe that's a racist comment. Try to get over here. Got a big long trailer. So yeah, these guys are, you know, they're just milking it like the victims that they are in life. They're gonna see every opportunity, you know, never let a good crisis go to waste. They're gonna, as the victims they are, they're gonna exploit that victimhood status for their own benefits. You're just making them more prosperous, guys. Okay. I mean, the donations to the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence after all the Dodger Stadium controversy are getting, you know, they're getting more donations than ever now. Yeah, so it's like anything. It's like when the media attacks Trump, it only makes him more powerful. It only gives them that street cred, right? Which they're all vying for now, I guess. These like like Desantis and Trump trying to outdo the other on who's more OG, right? Who's the more original gangsta of the America First conservative candidates. It's insane, guys. What can I say? World has gone to hell, and I mean, if you look at it, you know, like I have over the years, you know, it's been like a couple decades at least that I've been paying attention to politics, in particular, you know, from the lens of controlled opposition, this statecraft method of, you know, manufacturing consent, manufacturing this illusion of a democracy, right? And where's it all headed? You know, I just kind of wonder. You know, all this further entrenchment. You know, every day goes by, there's something new to be pissed off about the other side, about your opponents. What's the end game? Is it just to divide this country, to weaken this country? I think that's part of it. It's just, you know, the elites who have captured control over our government are more than happy to keep us infighting over petty hot button issues, right? Like recently, this Marjorie Taylor Greene. I heard a speech from her. It's on Newsmax, I think, during an interview, and I thought it was just so revealing how, you know, she's a firebrand, right? MTJ. You got the AOC on the left and the MTG on the, I meant G, not J. MTG on the right? It's like these supposedly polar opposites. Meanwhile, she's kind of been, as one article put it, kind of alienating herself from her party by backing this recent, debt ceiling agreement to just further increase the national debt. And she's using this kind of like cheap sales pitch that this is actually going to save us money, guys.
So we are barely hanging on to an opportunity to pass the bill that actually does save the American people money, not as much money as we had in our other bill, but it does have a savings, but it has a powerful tool. That's the tool that I really want, Rob. I am sick and tired of the two-tier justice system. I am fed up with the weaponized government, and I am so tired of no one ever being held accountable and never anyone going to jail. And what we can do with this tool that we've been given with Thomas Massey's CR plan and appropriations is we can use our appropriations because it'll be signed into law with 12 separate bills where we can do things like defund the FBI headquarters. They don't deserve that. They don't deserve brand new, nice headquarters after they've been targeting pro-life activists and targeting parents at school boards. Merrick Garland's DOJ needs to be held accountable after the unconstitutional raid at Mar-a-Lago and how he's going after President Trump, claiming all these classified documents. But yet in reality, Joe Biden is the one that has classified documents practically all over the country.
Right. No, you don't save money by increasing the debt and further inflating our dollars, and our spending power. That's pretty much some blatant Orwellian doublespeak right there. And anytime you have, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, the majority of the votes were from Democrats. When you had McCarthy, buddying up with Biden to pass this bill. That should tell you something right there. All right, guys? Anytime you have this two-party duopoly in agreement over a particular bill, you might want to investigate it a little further. But they just keep setting the bar higher and higher and higher, which is going to bankrupt this country, which is part of the plan, which is part of the chaos, I guess, that they want to unfold in this country, which, will give them the excuse to roll out the CBDCs. The dollar's completely devalued. Well, this is the only thing that holds value. It's your digital dollars, right? No longer inflationary, right, guys? They're deflationary. They'll hold value. And that's all that matters. You can still keep buying your corporate trinkets from these woke brands, right? And, oh man. It's just total control is what you're looking at once we head to a digital currency of any kind. You think it's bad now, right? With the social media censorship. Everybody's going to have to second guess what they tweet out, right? When that can be used against them in the real world. So now you have Elon over there in China for the past, what has it been, a week or two? At least a week. Keep seeing these pictures of him hobnobbing with the elite in China. You know, talking about these, basically these intelligence networked vehicles. Isn't that interesting? Does that sound like a freer world to you guys? Are you down for the network of intelligent networked vehicles, the hive mind of transportation, the future, right, guys? Anybody else down for that? I'm not really down for that. No, there's nothing really that cool about losing your autonomy, and I just think it's pretty revealing that he's going to China because they are like the prototype, right, of this surveillance society, of this social credit score nightmare. And meanwhile, the woke lady who he hired, part of the World Economic Forum, head exec of Twitter now, is, as he claimed with that first tweet that he announced, when he announced that he hired her, she's going to be heading his X app, right? App X, which is based after the China WeChat, which is, again, it's the app to rule them all, and you have people cheering this guy on to this day because we love a monopoly man, right? We love a good monopoly man. All of a sudden we're into monopoly men, richest man in the world now, right? The inconsistency, people, just try to stay within the lines of your own reasoning, please, I beg of you. I'm starting to feel like a Vulcan or something, trying to communicate with Romulans out there, or what was Worf? Klingons. That's funny. You can think of a lot of the MAGAs out there is like Klingons, right? And then you have like the ones that aren't so sure, a little more skeptical. You can think of them as kind of the what are the Ferengi? That's what I was thinking of. The Ferengi. Yeah. Those are the guys that are like, I don't know. And then you have the Vulcans that are just like, man, you're all crazy. Can't believe you're falling for this shit again. Another politician promising you the moon, and you just get a jab in the arm. I mean, come on, guys. Come on. Wake up. I'd swear if I was in a shittier mood, I guess. Guess I just did. This world's gone mad, people. I'm just trying to cling on to a little semblance of sanity, okay, guys? So when you hear me talk about, the trans movements and all this stuff, the left-right paradigm, just keep in mind that I'm seeing things from a biblical perspective, a prophetic biblical perspective, and we all have to have some source for truth, right, guys? Is it going to be the science? Is it going to be the science, guys? Is that what you're going to put your faith in? Like, say Elon Musk and mRNA technology? Is that going to be your savior? I highly doubt it. What are the odds that even if they do develop some life extension technology and they're going to beam your consciousness right into the cloud somewhere, you think that'll be the same quality of existence as God designed? Yeah, it'll be like a sci-fi nightmare, basically. Something out of the Matrix, right? Waking up in these little pods, living this lie. Who wants to live that way? I mean, I'm sure some of you out there might, but I don't want to live a lie. I don't want to live a lie. The way I see it, my whole purpose for existence is to seek and find, right? Seek and you shall find. You know, it's a perpetual quest to find the truth, right? So I don't want to live a lie. And I don't think it'll get that far anyway, right? And even if they did have that technology, that's what my question was. You think they'd really give it to all you guys on the bottom, all you small guys? You think they're really gonna, as much as they're against, you know, overpopulation, as much, you know, they're trying to, you know, eradicate as much of the what they see as livestock on this planet as possible, thin the herd, right? I think they're really going to offer life extension technologies to all you little guys out there. So it's another false hope, basically. To think that science is someday going to make you immortal. That's, you know, with a lot of these elites, that's their driving force behind what they do. And like I said, they view the population as their guinea pigs, basically. That's from the beginning kind of what one of my questions was with this rollout of the mRNA and the acceptance, you know, from all these medical regulatory agencies. Now we're just in total acceptance of this technology, and it can just be rolled out, injected into people without any kind of peer-reviewed studies, right? Is part of that agenda just to, you know, kind of turn the human population into the guinea pigs of the elite, who can then turn around and, you know, basically experiment on us to develop these life extension technologies. You know, what a better, you know, if you really want to develop a product that is, you know, of the highest quality, you want to experiment on the same life forms as yourself. You don't want to experiment on a mouse, on a pig, right? You want to experiment on human beings. What a great way to bypass all of the, you know, like the Nuremberg trials and all the medical experimentation that was done by the Nazis. What a way to bypass all that. But a nice little manufactured crisis. To skirt over, you know, like Trump said, to twist the arm of the FDA. Skirt over all these little regulatory nuisances, right? And just start, you know, full bore, man. Start injecting this stuff into the population as a whole, and we'll keep careful tabs over time on how it affects them, for better or for worse. I don't know. It's just pure speculation on my part. Anyway, I'm here. I'm at the discount grocery store again, guys. Next, I gotta hit up Home Depot. So, yeah, thanks everybody for listening. You know, just keep your eye on the prize, I guess, is what I'll end with. You know, there's a better world. There's a better place that we're all going to end up if we so choose, you know, to do what's right. Listen to that still small voice, and you know, let God's will be our wills in this life. Don't be selfish. Don't be childlike. Don't bicker like little children. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be bigger. Let's be adults, you know, both physically and spiritually. Let's be like those first Americans, right? Those Protestants. Those true patriots that formed and, you know, built this country out of the wilderness. Let's be like those people. Back in the day, moral giants, right? let's not stoop to the petty tactics of our enemies. Let's just be, if we're going to call ourselves Christians, let's be like Christ. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. God bless. Hopefully I'm going to do a podcast out here before too long. The weather's so nice right now. I'm just trying to hit it while I can. You know, as many days that allow for working outside, I'm going to try to work outside. You know, I got a project. I'm going to build a greenhouse, big old tunnel, hoop house. That's going to eat up a lot of time. And got a few things in the, you know, once the snow clears up there in the mountains, you start looking around, you're like, man, you start spotting more projects in the yard. I got to get this done. I got to get that sold. See, I'm real busy in the summertime. You probably see a lot less videos from me. You know, we'll see. I'll try to get, if not one out every week, one out every 2 weeks, bi-weekly, I guess. Hopefully, a real podcast out here before too long. Everything takes time, right, guys? So if you can, support the show financially. Otherwise, just at least comment, thumbs up. Everything helps. Share if you want to. Just let me know how you feel, what you're thinking yourselves. If you disagree or if you agree with what I had to say today. Everything helps. Every little bit of feedback, every little bit of, interaction on these social media platforms. Even though I'm highly shadow banned at this point, my videos might see a little trickle, a handful of unique viewers within a 24-hour period, and then they just kind of stick me on a dark shelf to collect dust. Kind of used to it by now, though. So somebody's alarm went off. Anyway, it's a good time to end it. God bless everybody. Thanks again for listening. This is Nightwatch N8, and I'll catch you next time. Signing out.